How's it going, everybody? Welcome to a brand new video. Feel free to follow us on Snapchat and stay connected in the conversation. All that being said, today we are talking about the top 8 cryptocurrencies altcoins for August of 2018. Since today is the first day of August 2018, we're going to start the list with number 8, Digibyte. And realistically, Digibyte is first on the list. Obviously, this list is in no particular order. Digibyte's earned its place on this list. Recently, in the end of July, we saw these news articles starting to pop up talking about how Digibyte's been shifting its focus from essentially Digibyte is going to be targeting a sector of the cryptocurrency space involving security when it comes to the new age of artificial intelligence. And this is really set to gain a lot of interest. I mean, Digibyte had a solid week this week, and of course we're seeing a lot of various different interest across the board involving Digibyte. I was looking at these different news articles earlier that were saying Digibyte to increase as more billionaires promote crypto. But I mean, all this being said, I mean, you have to take into consideration these are just news articles. I mean, the news is always to be taken with a grain of salt. You have to look into the solid information behind these things, and the signs about Digibyte are all pointing in a decent direction as far as I can calculate. Digibyte's been around for a very long time. It's well established with a good community across multiple different platforms. All of social media platforms pretty much have a place where there's people who are talking about Digibyte, which will essentially be very important moving forward in the long term for any cryptocurrency, because if people aren't talking about these projects, then they're pretty much going to fall by the wayside. But another thing Digibyte has going for it is, like I said, blockchain, and any crypto that doesn't have a blockchain is ultimately going to fall behind and get left behind. These blockchains like Litecoin and all these different things are going to have their place in the world of tomorrow, of course, when these things really start ramped up and going. So number 7 on the list is, of course, ZRX. ZeroX really does have a lot of things going for it when you take into consider the Ethereum ecosystem, and this is going to be really a defining moment as things move forward, especially in August. The fact that ZRX is an open protocol is really going to be playing an essential role in what we see happen over these next 30 days. Ranking currently at the number 23 position, this really has been focus of my attention lately. I think that we will really be seeing a lot of people who've been sleeping on ZeroX starting to wake up and realize what they've been missing. Decentralized exchanges are essentially the future of cryptocurrency. There's a whole multitude of problems that come into the way when the centralized exchanges have too much power. And I think over a certain amount of time, we will certainly see decentralized exchanges fully replace, simply because the future is decentralized. And looking at the news regarding ZeroX, it's interesting. ZeroX is a jewel in the rough but careful and fast pumps and dumps. And of course, we will be making a video about ZeroX later on, so I'll actually be sharing a lot of the information and analysis for that video, so make sure that you stay on the lookout for that. So this is really something that's relevant to where we currently are. I mean, currently we're seeing a market that's got marked by a significant amount of volatility, and I'm not going to tell you that we're all of a sudden going to see a shot to the moon. I mean, that would be nice, not saying that it's out of the question completely, but I'm being a little bit more realistic. And of course, you really can't tell anything about what's going to happen in the future of cryptocurrency by looking at the past. It really takes going into the nitty-gritty and having a data analytical understanding of what's going to be happening with these technologies moving forward. And ZeroX really is one that stands out from the crowd in that respect. But moving right along to the list. Next up, we have Deep Brain Chain, artificial intelligence leveraging blockchain technology. If that doesn't sound like the future to you, then I don't really know what is. Deep Brain Chain is very, very much an interesting cryptocurrency. It's very much associated in the Neo ecosystem, but realistically, China does have a really forward-thinking look on how the future is actually going to be functioning, and I could definitely see Deep Brain Chain filling in and having a lot of really significant things going for it. In particular, what we've been seeing happening involving Deep Brain Chain as far as developments over these just short period of time. It is interesting to see how Deep Brain Chain's been leveraging the potential it's made for these things. Of course, I'd recommend you guys follow Deep Brain Chain on their official Twitter. Just stay up to date regarding this technology, because really important things happening involving Deep Brain Chain this month, and it should really send shockwaves through the cryptocurrency space. I think there'll definitely be a lot of people talking about Deep Brain Chain come 2019 in particular. More and more as we move forward into the world of tomorrow, artificial intelligence is going to become increasingly more and more relevant. Anyways, the next on the list is, of course, EOS, and I could definitely see EOS moving up in rank from their current position in the number 5. EOS is definitely a very interesting cryptocurrency to see how they've been blazing a trail for the rest of the community to follow. EOS is definitely has a really great team working behind it, and there's essentially going to be pretty big things happening involving the EOS. So I mean, obviously any of these cryptos, if you're interested in them, make sure that you're following them on Twitter and so forth to stay up to date. But I mean, with these version 1.1 release, very exciting stuff happening. Blockchain activity matrix, I was looking at this earlier. And EOS is, of course, where it needs to be. So I mean, I think strategically moving forward, EOS definitely is positioned in a really great spot, especially for the month of that we're currently in. So I mean, obviously we're 8 months into 2018, and it's going to take a lot of different variables coming together on an international scale to really see the momentum that we were seeing earlier in the year, or even last year. The end of 2017, of course, was much more exciting around this time last year. But taking all that with a grain of salt, I have been turning to more of a data analytical perspective when it comes to these things, and EOS really is one that checks out. Next, of course, is Ethereum Classic. Not much needs to be said about Ethereum Classic, but I think one thing in particular is going to be playing a big role, especially right now. Ethereum Classic attains 48K transactions as Coinbase listing. So this Coinbase listing is really going to be playing a huge essential role. And of course, Ethereum Classic has a lot of things going for it, especially the success of Ethereum. And then, of course, next door to it, we see Ethereum Classic now starting to flex its muscles in its own respective right, doing its own job and essentially showing off what it's capable of doing. So I think we'll definitely be seeing more and more people talking about Ethereum Classic within the next few days, of course. Especially the big splash that's happened recently involving the recent successes that have happened involving Ethereum Classic. Big exciting stuff happening. And then, of course, the next one on the list is going to be Tron. Tron launches Tron wallet application for Android. I think this is going to be big. We talk about Tron a lot on this channel, so not very much needs to be said, but Justin Sun definitely does have a really interesting vision for where he wants to take the technology. And of course, with the vacuum that's currently opening, seeing the decline of the Facebook stock, the decline of Twitter's stock, all these different social medias reaching a steady state of a real surefire decline, we're seeing a lot of really interesting spaces opening for cryptocurrencies like Tron and Steam and these various different ones that seek to move into that space of social media side of the internet. And I think Tron with BitTorrent is definitely going to be a big variable as we see things moving forward. So a lot of exciting things. And then the next on the list is Binance Coin. Of course, in times of volatility, we do see people moving to Binance Coin and various different exchanges. And of course, you need to take into consideration how dominant Binance Coin is in its position. The exchange coins all have their place, but Binance Coin certainly does have its place among them. So that's another one that I'm certainly going to recommend paying attention to. And then, of course, Nucleus Vision with artificial intelligence and how they're reshaping the space that we know as retail, because we're currently seeing a similar vacuum opening up as a lot of these old giants go out of business. These old retail giants are steadily declining, and it's opening up basically a new opportunity, a new paradigm altogether, where Nucleus Vision can essentially leverage artificial intelligence and at the same time reshape the way that people understand membership programs. And in a lot of different ways, Nucleus Vision is giving the public the control of their data, and it's giving them their option. And very interesting developments happening in that respect. But so Nucleus Vision is certainly a cryptocurrency that I'm paying attention to, and I'd also recommend that you guys follow Nucleus Vision on their Twitter. I'd recommend following all these on their Twitter, but Nucleus Vision in particular, because there is that great community that's working with Nucleus Vision. And then next on the list is, of course, XRP. We do see some interesting signs happening all the way across the board with XRP, involving the interest that the establishment has shown in this technology. And certainly looking forward, it's going to be very interesting seeing how XRP and, of course, Ripple and that reputation develops moving forward over the next few days, and, of course, moving into the next few months, and then 2019, 2020. The latest video I actually made about Ripple talks about how Johnny Depp is actually going to be playing in a movie about Ripple, about the founder of Ripple, the multimillionaire, and you guys could check my channel for that video. But it is interesting to see there's movies being made about Ripple. There's we've got on the Ellen DeGeneres show, we've got Ashton Kutcher, whatever his name is, talking and promoting about Ripple. We've got former U.S. President Bill Clinton set to keynote Ripple conference. So a lot of very interesting news. Obviously, I always take the news with a grain of salt because a lot of it tends to be fake news. So I'd always recommend you guys find your information from verified sources. But enough is clear. Ripple definitely is positioning itself in a really interesting way moving forward. And so next on the list, we have, of course, Waves. And Waves has earned its place on this list for a multitude of different reasons. It's definitely one that I'm paying attention to, and I just figured I'd throw it on there essentially as a bonus. So yeah, just going through the list again, we've got Ethereum Classic, EOS, and XRP, Deep Brain Chain, and Nucleus Vision, and it's and of course Binance Coin. So of course, remember, this video is not financial advice. Videos for entertainment, educational purposes only. And obviously, in the spirit of sharing other people's opinions, if you guys would like to hear another video, I'll include a link to this video down in the description. So if you guys are interested, you can check out this man's list as well, because I think it's always important to share different perspectives. But all that being said, if you guys are interested, you guys can follow us on our Twitter, or connect with us on Snapchat, whichever you would like to do. And all that being said, I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. Have a good one.